Welcome, people of YouTube. Howard speaking here on yet another really hot day. So, you've obviously heard Amazon Lord of the Rings of Power is coming out soon. And you've no doubt heard a lot of people aren't looking forward to it, not happy. You've seen all these really gay and stupid, superficial fan trailer people, influencers, take that with a pinch of salt, a grain of salt, however however you say that. So I would just like to say what Lord of the Rings meant to me. Now, I will admit, I am not a super fan, I am not an expert, I am not a Tolkien scholar. But I have read the books, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. I've seen the Peter Jackson trilogy. Excuse me, hiccups. And yeah, I enjoyed them. Now, cut a long story short, when I was at school, I was considered quite bright by my teachers, and I wouldn't say I'm thick. I admit I'm quite naive. And my concentration wandered a bit, subjects that I weren't particularly interested in, I didn't really pay much attention to. Then other subjects I was really, really good at. I was pretty much good at, most things, including sport. But one thing that I wasn't very good at, and still aren't to this day, is spelling. My spelling is atrocious. Using predictive texting and stuff, it hasn't got a clue what I want to say. I've spent ages writing taxis, and because I can't spell and it can't figure out what I want it to say, and I have to reword things, and I end up not saying what I wanted to say. I much prefer to just phone and speak to somebody. Anyway, one day I was out somewhere with my friend's dad, and for whatever reason, I'd left my wallet at home or something or other, and my friend's dad lent me some money. Anyway, a bit of time went past because we forgot about it, basically. But then, oh yeah, I owe you that money, don't I? Is it alright if I give you a cheque? And he's like, yeah, fine, whatever, yeah. So I went to write him a cheque out, and it was for £20-something, something like that. Wow, even just holding that pen and trying to write was weird. I hadn't wrote anything, I'd already left school a while at this point, and I had not got a clue how to spell right. Ridiculous it was. And anyway, I'm speaking to a friend of mine who, very clever guy, and he's very literate. He's really into his literacy and literary works, poetry. And he said to me, do you know what might help improve? Reading. Because at the time I didn't really watch much TV, and I certainly didn't do any reading. So I thought I'll give it a go. Now I'm at home, and I see in my older brother's bookshelf, had a little scan like books, and because my brother liked reading, had a whole collection of fantasy and science fiction, and I'd heard about Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. I'd seen the animated series when I was younger, the short animated movie film, and quite liked it. So I picked up the Lord of the Rings, but then I thought, start at the beginning. So I got the Hobbit, started reading it, and it'd take me hours to, even a few pages, but I kept at it. It was quite a difficult read, but then after a while I was getting through a whole chapter and then chapters, and the actual first bit of the book really drew me in. I was like, this is a nice little tale, and yeah, and I persevered. I found towards the middle of the book that it got a little bit boring, but like I say, persevered, and then it got good again. And by the end of the book, I was like, well, I really enjoyed that. I'm out now, looking forward to tackling something bigger. So I then proceeded to start reading Lord of the Rings, and again, it started off. I really got drawn into it. Difficult, with the different languages and various um, dialect and big fancy words and stuff. It was a bit of a struggle. Now, I think I've said before on a previous video, fantasy is my thing. I love fantasy. And, I can imagine the orcs and what owls look like. And, that was great for me, and I carried on. And again, I must admit, when I got about halfway through, it started getting a little bit boring. It was a few chapters, the big long chase across Rohan and stuff. But I think that was the second book. What would be in the films, The Two Towers. But again, yeah, as I got closer to the end of that book, it got, I really got back into it again, And at this point, I'm reading lots of chapters each night, I'm really moving through it quite quickly. And then obviously started on the last book. And I do believe, because in the issue my brother had, it was 3 books, but each book split up into like 2. It says book 1, book 2. So is the 6 books or is the 3? I mean, it's basically one story. If anybody would like to, leave a comment and tell me, is it actually 3 books or was it meant to be 6 but condensed down? Yes, I'd like to know that. But anyway, I got to the end of that. I'm really glad that I did. So, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings were the first 2 stories that I read as an adult after I left school. And I found that they actually improved my writing ability and my reading ability quite a lot. And also, because of that, I also then started reading other books. I got into the Star Wars Extended Universe. I believe the first one was the Timothy Zahn, or Zane as I called him then, like I say, because my reading and writing skills weren't brilliant, but Timothy Zahn. And then more as they come out, Shadows of the Empire, Tales of Jabba's Palace. I read the Dune books. So, to me, Lord of the Rings is much more than a story. It, it, it's 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 got a much broader meaning. It's imagination. It's escapism. It's broadening your horizons. There's there's so much contained within them stories that it made me a better person. It certainly extended my mind in a good way. And the reason that I felt the need to make this video, because this new Rings of Power, we just see these little snippets here and there. They haven't really shown us anything. No books, they're just taking some bits and bobs and they're going to make a whole load of series. And I actually think it's going to ruin people's imagination in some way. It's going to dull people's, it's just content. It's just going to be content and product and forgettable. And I actually think as a result of this, there is going to be less creativity and less people now going to put pen to paper and write these stories, good, profound stories, and less people picking them up and reading them. And like I say, I use my imagination. Now just having it put in your face and told what you like, that's going to go. And I think it's going to be the future's going to be a sad time for great pieces of fictional or non-fictional literary works. Anyway, thank you for listening. I'd like to know what you think. Leave a like, subscribe, and have a good day. Peace.